Mm-mm.
Hello and welcome to this Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, a podcast where we showcase the journey of great leaders and how they became aware of their leadership potential and what investment they have made towards becoming the great leader they are. And also, we also explore the mentorship advantage, how mentorship has really helped them. So, this is Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast with your host, Dr. Michael Koku. It's my honor and privilege to have one of the great minds in the Maxwell Leadership brand, Jamie Hansen. Hi, Jamie. How are you today?
Hello, I'm well, thank you.
Okay, Jamie,
Excited to be here.
Jamie, we're so glad to have you, and you're so phenomenal. I remember when we met last week. I like, woo, we already met before. We got a picture together. Like, wow. And I always like to bring leaders that we really had so much value to people in such a very great way. Coach Jamie, can you tell us something about yourself? That just who is Coach Jamie Hansen? Yeah.
I am a Maxwell Leadership member, as you mentioned. I have been doing that for 13 years now, but I'm also a therapist by training. So that's where I actually got my start doing in business, actually. So doing a lot of marriage therapy, but also working in organizations, helping them with their people pieces, as I like to call it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. And Coach Jamie, at what point did you discover the leadership potential inside of you? I believe everyone has leadership. I have a concept called life, LIFE. Leadership is for everyone. And I
Oh, I
believe,
love that.
yeah, because the reason is that some people believe that leadership is not for them, or they didn't win the lottery and they are not
Mhm.
a leader. I believe everyone has this leadership potential. All we need is awareness, and the which is the first key to change. And the second key
Yes.
to change is accepting responsibility to develop that leadership potential. So, at what age, at what time, and did you discover that you have this leadership potential inside of you? At what point, and who brought that to your awareness? Thank you.
I would say I was in high school.
Mm,
I grew up as a shy girl in the middle of the country in western Nebraska with small
mm,
teeth and big eyes, or the other way around, sorry, big teeth and small eyes and freckles. And I never really saw myself as someone having, much as far as leadership potential, just because I was so shy and quiet.
mm,
But I had people around me that were able to see that within me and point it out. And so at
mm,
first I didn't believe it. At
mm,
first, I love what you say about acceptance. It really is about, yeah, they're seeing something and accepting that. At first,
mm.
I didn't believe it, but I did get elected to co-captain our cheerleading squad, and that was probably my first real leadership role in my life, as
At
far as
at
anything
what point
official.
was that? What grade were you at that time?
I would have been a sophomore in high school, so
Wow.
I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And terrified at the idea of leading another group of people. Of course, leadership wasn't a concept or a term that we tossed around much at that time. So that
Mm,
I would say was my first official leadership role, if you will.
mm,
And then heading into college, I also was blessed to have some professors that would say, there's a lot of leadership potential in you, or I like how you think, I like how you look at things. And just that shyness in me, I had always kind of kept everything so close to the vest that it was because of those leaders and those mentors that I had that would point out the potential that they saw in me that
mm,
allowed me to start thinking about, you know what, I really do have something to offer and something more
mm,
here, and gave me permission to start stepping into those roles and those unfamiliar
mm.
places, if you will.
Wow, that's awesome. So you started having those flashes of awareness in your high school. Now you get to college, you saw some professors calling out that leadership in you. Then
Yes.
at what point do you really hone it? Hone the development process, because there's one of the book I'm reading now is called Own It, and by
Yes.
one lady, Sally Krawcheck, and it's called Own It by Sally Krawcheck. So
Love
at
that.
what point did you really hone that leadership? Because when you take ownership for something, that's when you start paying the price for the development. So what time in your life did you really take ownership of your leadership development journey?
It was when I was 23, turning 24 years old. I had graduated from college. I had two very young boys at that point. And we moved to a small community, and I accepted the position as the executive director of a domestic violence shelter in our area, and we served 5 counties. And so 24 years old, that's very young to be in a position like that. But as we've discussed in leadership circles, you may have the title, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you're actually using great leadership skills and, exuding those leadership qualities. But for me, that was a turning point where I learned I really need to grow fast. That's when I really started investing in my growth to make sure that I was serving my community well. So I wasn't just having the title, but that I also was being a leader, if that makes sense. So it was young. For me, that's young. It was in those young days that I realized, okay, I'm going to have to really grow even more if I'm going to be a leader in my community, but also in this organization and for the women that we were serving.
Wow, that's awesome. So you said you started making the investment in your leadership development. So can you tell us what kind of investment did you start making into your leadership development? Yeah, I'm just
Absolutely.
curious.
Yes, absolutely. I started looking for mentors. So I initially, found a couple of mentors that could lead me in my role and help me, give me the sounding board, a place to go to, help me set some goals for my development. So I was fortunate to have a couple of people in my small community that could do that. And I also was listening to John Maxwell's tapes.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's literally cassette tapes. So I was
What year
listening to
was
those.
this?
This was back in the 1990s. So in the mid
Wow, you started
1990s.
so early. Come on, y'all. Talk to me about that. Yeah. How did you get to know about the tape? Yeah.
I actually, my husband became aware of it through the bank that he was working for. Someone told him about those tapes and the Equip tapes at the time, and I was very interested. Oh, Maximum, what were they? The Maximum Impact
Yeah,
also.
maximum impact. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And I listened to those. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then I remember when I went to graduate school to actually become a counselor, that was when John Maxwell's books, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, came out. And I'm like, hey, I know this guy. I've been listening to his tapes. And so that was another kind of vault, if you will, when I read that book also.
Wow, that was awesome. So that was an investment of reading books, tapes, and well, I know some people are
Time.
listening to us that, oh, what does tape mean?
Yes.
Listen, it shows how young we are to know what tape means. Listen,
Love
I'm
it.
not growing old. I'm growing younger, and I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. Hold
That's
the
right.
mindset.
That's right.
So in case you don't know what tape means, just Google and you will see what
Yes.
tape is. So we're not
Yes.
here to talk about tape. We're here to talk about leadership. But
Yes.
the thing I want to pass across to you right now is, so you make those investments. What other investment did you make in your leadership development?
What other investments did I make?
Do you make in yourself, apart from the tape? You said you were seeking for mentors and all that. Then
Mhm.
what else did you do to grow yourself? Just because if we don't grow ourselves, we can know ourselves.
Mhm.
And if we
Mhm.
can know ourselves, we can even invest in ourselves more to be a better version of ourselves so that we can add value to others. Yeah. So what other investment have you made in your leadership development journey? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, in my field of professional counseling, one of the things that we're required to do is continuing education. So, while that can be a requirement in some fields, like it is in mine, I also think it's a choice.
Mm.
So for me, choosing not to just tick the boxes and go get the number of hours that I needed, but really choosing to like learn and like grow and invest in those things was a decision I had to make, because you can literally phone it in and just make sure that you're getting your hours, or you can make a decision like, no, I really do want to be better. I really do want to grow. And it wasn't until I really got involved with like the Maxwell community and was like running my practice with my partners that it's like, oh yeah, I do have a growth mindset. And I feel like I've learned some of these things kind of in reverse, if that makes sense. Like looking back across my life, like, oh, that's what that was.
Mm,
I didn't really understand it at the time. I would, in full transparency, say I never really, um, being the the shy girl from the small town, I never really thought that I would be much of a leader. So I never really pursued it or actively tried to get myself into those positions. But yet,
mm,
as I've found myself in these places over time and felt like if I'm going to be of value to serve, I do need to grow in these ways. Looking backward, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I have had a growth mindset. And
mm,
oh yeah, I guess I really have wanted to develop and add value to people. And so that's what drives me. Like I
mm.
need to be the best that I can be. And you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so sometimes if we're feeling like our well is dry or our bucket is dry, that's what I learned. I really need to go make sure that I'm filling mine so that I can be that river, not a reservoir,
Wow,
if you
that was
will. So
awesome.
it's
Yeah.
been a long, long journey, and
Mm.
I don't know that we ever arrive. I certainly haven't arrived.
No, there's no finish
Um,
line. Oh,
so
Dr. John Maxwell said there's no finish line. Yeah, yeah.
mhm,
He said
mhm,
he's writing a book called Is There a Finish Line? And there's no finish line. That's
mm,
the truth. Yeah.
mm.
So what can you tell us what I'm really so big about mentorship that I wrote a book on it. My latest book is called Mentorship Advantage. And
Love that.
just which was dedicated to the Maxwell Leadership Tribe. You know,
Mhm.
all our mentors out there have poured through us. And I use the acronym mentorship. So, how has mentorship impacted your life positively?
Um, in uh, in every way I can think of. I being a leader again that kind of, found myself in these roles. I remember looking around about 10 or 15 years ago and feeling like I don't have any mentors right now.
Hmm.
And what made me realize that is I was feeling the pain of having a lot of responsibility. I had children, I had a family, I had the practice I was running, I had my partners. I had a lot of responsibility, but I didn't have someone out in front of me who'd been
Hmm.
where I'd been, who could like say, hey, here's where the potholes are, or ask me some of those really great questions to help me continue to grow. And
Hmm.
it was a painful realization, but it was also a huge aha for me to like, oh, this is something I really need in my life. So
Hmm.
um, I've I've sought it out because I've had that pain, if you will, of feeling like I'm not growing and realizing I didn't have any mentors at the time. So
Hmm.
at that point, I did again seek out to have a coach and someone who could just guide me and walk through through life with me, through business with me. And that's been incredibly, incredibly helpful. I have found myself in the place where oftentimes I'm a mentor more than I'm a mentee. And I'm
Hmm.
saying this out loud right now as much as anything as a reminder that I need to stay in that mentee position as well. If I'm going to be as good as possible as a mentor,
Yeah.
we need to stay in that coachee or that mentee place all the
Hmm.
time, and need
Wow.
to make sure that we're not losing being fed.
That's awesome. Great job. Great job. Yeah. So, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned
Oh, um, what is the
in your
greatest
leadership
lesson
journey? Yeah.
in my leadership journey?
Hmm.
um, that there are always people to go the journey with you. And
Hmm.
John Maxwell says, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go far, take people with you.
Woo,
And I think
that
I
was
think
awesome.
I think leadership is a team sport.
Hmm. Wow, that was great. Oh, Coach Jamie, you're such a very dynamic leader because and I just really and I love the way you put it. It's a team sport, and if you look at the word team, it's a together. Everyone achieves more, and I
Yes.
believe
Yes.
alone everyone achieves more. Together,
Mm,
everyone achieves more.
yes.
It's all about just teaming up with the right, just like what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
We coming together to add value to people. I mean, someone can just say, "Oh, I can do my podcast by myself. I can speak." Oh, fine, you can speak. But the good book said two are better than one.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right. And
exactly.
And to
Yeah, go
add
ahead,
to
go
that,
ahead.
I would say, pardon me, I would say as well, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. That has been a big leadership lesson for me. And from a
Mm,
helping professionals perspective, we're terrible at asking for help.
yeah,
But as a leader, we have to
mm,
identify what we need and not be
yeah.
afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, and that's so true. Yeah. I got two more questions before we let
Yes.
you go today. Yeah. Another question I want to have for you is that what is um what we talk about the greatest lesson that you've learned. What is the greatest
Mhm.
advice that you have received? And we'll give it to you.
Oh gosh, I've got a couple of them.
The greatest one, yeah.
The greatest one. Okay. All right. Um, it has to be from my dad. And I think this one covers a lot. My dad ran our small town grocery store and was very involved in our community leadership. And one of his pieces of advice was don't ever burn your bridges.
Done.
And don't ever burn your bridges.
Woo.
So relationships may come and go, and people may come in and out of our lives for different
Mm,
seasons and different reasons. But
mm,
it's really taught me to value what place different things have in my life. And I
mm.
do believe in ending things well.
Yeah.
Um, and also and starting things well. So, but yeah, don't ever burn your bridges. And I think
Wow.
we're living in a very reactive society right now, and I think there's a whole
Mm,
lot of bridge burning that people turn to pretty quickly. And
yeah.
so I like to look for how can we repair this, and if it's
Mm,
not for you and I to walk this for the long term, or we've reached where we're going to that fork in the road,
yeah.
then how can we end this well and not burn that bridge?
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Last question. What advice do you have for a new emerging leader that is just starting up? Someone listening to us right now, they are just launching
Mhm.
out in their leadership. So, and that would just be, I wanted to look at it this way. What advice do you have for the younger Jamie
Oh,
that is just starting up as a leader? Yeah.
yes. A couple of things. It is to trust your instincts.
Mm,
You've been given this gift for a reason.
mm,
So to trust your instincts. And it sounds self-serving because we are coaches, but it really is true. And maybe I can say this as a therapist and a mom, but have a coach, have a mentor in your life always, because
mm,
that person can see things in you through their experience that you can't see,
mm,
and they can show you ways to help you develop that. And you can also have those offline candid conversations with someone who values you for who you are, for where you are, and can help you grow. Because if we just keep all of those things inside and don't talk out some of
yeah.
our concerns and our challenges, they can really trip us up.
Mm,
So make sure that you do have a mentor and a coach. And again, someone that can see that value that maybe some days we're going to question. I do
mm,
believe when you step into that leadership role, the trouble's going to come, the challenges are
yeah.
going to come, and you need somebody to walk through that with you.
Wow, that was awesome. We all need a mentor. Every mentor need a mentor because the main thing about mentorship is just, like I said, it's a life journey. You don't want to go alone, and there's so much to learn. And there's so many people that I'm looking up to as mentors. And apart from the Maxwell leadership mentors that we have, mentors are necessary for acceleration in life. And that's why I wrote the mentorship advantage. So how can people find you, Coach Jamie? I know where to find you. So maybe someone is listening to you. They say, "Oh, I love this coach. She's so dynamic." How can they connect with you, please?
Thank you. I'm on my website is alloystrong.com.
Oh, you talk so
Other
fast. Can you slow down so that they can catch it?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, I mean,
Yeah.
the website I want to say it slowly so that they can catch it. Maybe you want to spell
Yes,
it for them? Yeah.
I sure can. It's I'll say it and then I'll spell it. It's alloystrong.com.
Okay.
ALLOYSTRONG.com. And the reason
Good.
for that
Man,
is
we
an
got it.
ally. Yes, to take the business side and the mental health side, we bring those together. And that's what an alloy is. So easiest to
Wow.
find there.
Oh, yeah, I got it now. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Now that you slowed down, I was able to catch it. Oh, look at that. I would have missed that. That was like chemistry.
Yeah. Which I'm not good
Oh,
at.
oh, that was a beautiful concept. Yeah. How did you came up with that? How did that came to you through inspiration?
It was actually over some discussions with, again, some mentors and some friends. I had been told by a few people that if you're in the field of psychology, you can't really be entering into business and vice versa. And it's like, wait a minute, No, actually, you're an expert at your industry. You're the best at what you do in business. So we're going to take the best of what you do at your skills, and we're going to include the psychological know-how in that and bring them together. So
Wow.
that's where that came from, is we absolutely need to combine these things because we've got people in both places. So we
Wow.
need to do what's best for
Oh,
the people.
Coach Jamie, I tell you, I'm going to bring you back again. You're so dynamic. I want to say thank you for adding so much value in a short time. We're going to work on bringing you back again to this podcast because you are so phenomenal, unforgettable. I mean, that was awesome. Because if you have a passion and you can find a way of just serving people, and with what you got, is a whole lot. It's a whole lot of value. I want to say thank you for your time. What last word do you have for the for us, for someone listening, watching you? What is the last comment that you want to make before we leave? Yeah.
I want to say, be brave, love yourself. You've got this.
That's awesome. Yeah. And here we go. This is the Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. We've been having a great time with Coach Jamie Hansen. Listen, you need to listen to this again and again. Let's say you're catching up at the end. Go back and start all over because this powerhouse right here, she has dropped so much gold. In fact, my trunk is full of gold now. And I want to say thank you to you, Coach Jamie. And next time, we're going to bring you another dynamic leader. Watch out, but don't forget, it's not enough to learn, put into practice what you're learning, because better than knowledge is applied knowledge. Thank you. This is Dr. Michael
Thank you,
Koku,
Dr. Michael.
and I'll see you all next time.